I mean, that's the biggest battle that I think we're facing and fighting right now is social media and how to teach our kids that it's a great thing, but it's also extremely dangerous.
Sit back, relax, and get ready to embrace the work hard, smile large vibe.
Welcome to the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast. I'm your founder, Nicole Christopherson, and I have my beautiful friend, Angela Garcia, with me today from the U.G.L.I Foundation. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and share.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Tell them a little bit about the U.G.L.I Foundation and what really brought us together. And I just had to reach out and get her in here because it spoke to my heart. So tell me where you started. And
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so proud and passionate about the U.G.L.I Foundation. We're an anti-bullying organization, and we wanted to take a word that you often think about bullies using when they're trying to be hurtful. You think of the word ugly, and we wanted to flip it around, give it a positive meaning, de-weaponize it. We changed the spelling. It's an acronym, and it stands for Unique, Gifted, Loved Individual, so UGLI. And basically, we're just trying to teach everyone, not just young people, but everyone, that everyone is ugly, and it's a good thing. You know, you call yourself ugly, you call someone else ugly now, and it means that you're giving them a compliment. And it's, it's responding to hate with love.
And we all have challenges. Like, I think ugly goes into a lot of different things. There's ugly situations. It's not just physical,
Right.
It's emotional, and it is across all age groups. And that's why Work Hard, Smile Large. I'm so passionate about bringing all different generations and demographics of community together, because we can learn so much from each other and our challenges and our differences.
Yeah,
so much beautiful things, so many beautiful things can come out of it.
Absolutely. And that's one thing at the U.G.L.I Foundation. We incorporate everyone under our umbrella, we would say, because everyone faces bullying. It's not something that you just face one time in your life and that's it. You might face it as a child and then face it again as an adult in the workplace. Of course, we focus on our youth because the statistics are showing that's where the bullying is really hurting people. Depression is up, anxiety is up, suicide rate is up in kids. They're not performing well in school. All the statistics are showing that. But we also are here for the adults who are facing, hard situations in their lives. And then those adults who need help and need to understand what they can say to the youth in their lives to help them if they're going through a bullying situation.
Absolutely. Like that relatability of, that understanding that we go through challenges and we have differences that we face in our workplace, or we're on technology and we're on social media too. And we're constantly having to check ourselves and remind ourselves that we have our own life to live, and watching somebody else's life isn't a competition. And so like lowering that competitive nature of education and society and social media and, vanity and things like that is so important to teach them at a young age, because they should embrace their differences, but having them have that strength to like be able to do that is taught from us. Like, we are role models. Don't you? I mean, it's just,
that's the biggest battle that I think we're facing and fighting right now is social media and how to teach our kids that it's a great thing, but it's also extremely dangerous. And if it's not used the right way, it can be very, very hurtful, very detrimental. And I think that unfortunately today it's not being used the right way. And I don't think people realize the effect that it's having on our young people. And it used to be that, just talking about bullying specifically, you used to be able to get away from bullying. When you and I were kids, there might be a bully at school, but then you go home and you get a break from it.
Or you could talk to your teacher and there was this community and this nurturing and love that took place in classrooms. And I don't think that's necessarily as present as it used to be several decades ago. I mean, people used to name call before, and you would go to your administration and they would help you work through it and stuff. And I feel like there's a lot of intimidation with that. And I don't know that community structure and those emotions exist in every classroom anymore, like we used to be able to rely on previously. And I just think that evolution has changed. They're so strongly focused on academics and not as much of the, social emotional component that school provides children as they grow up.
I also think that teachers are also focused on, they have to be politically correct, because in today's world of the cancel culture, and if I say the wrong thing, I might, lose my job. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a teacher. And, just in my personal opinion, I think we focus too much on that sometimes. And if we just all loved each other and we were kind to each other and we just treated everyone with respect and, treat them the way that we want to be treated, whether they're black, white, gay, lesbian, bi, trans, whatever,
Short, tall,
then we wouldn't even have to worry about being politically correct. And I also think people are getting too easily offended. Yeah. You've got all these people who are saying, oh, that word triggered me or whatever. I mean, what I'm hearing from some of the friends that fall into some of those categories that I just named, they're not the ones who are bothered. It's the people who are like, oh, well, I'm not in that category, but I'm going to take up for that person. And, I think that's wrong. But, and like I said,
the differentiating voices that just have to create that.
If we were just all kind to each other and we just taught our children to be good citizens and do the right thing, then we wouldn't even have to worry about that. And also back to the social media, the kids can't get away from it now. No. The social media, the instant messaging,
and I can play devil's advocate.
It goes
I
with them
see
everywhere.
The positive and I see the negative. I have a middle schooler and I see the positive of her on technology and going to school with such confidence because her and her friends get ready together in the morning. Whereas before she was so shy and had so much anxiety going to school because she didn't know how she was going to fit in. And so I'm seeing the positive in that, and I'm seeing them teach themselves skills on like skincare and good health. And I see the positive, but then I also see that they're seeing what other friends are doing and some things that people are getting in trouble for at school, and things that, they're learning from peers or from older, generations. And it's hard, and it's a constant responsibility as a parent, as an adult, to be monitoring it. And I don't know where the right and the wrong is. The good relationship with the children that you're responsible for, whether you're a guardian or you're their parent or you're their grandparent or their aunt or uncle, or even my team members who know my children are friends with them on Snapchat and letting me know what's happening. And so it takes a community in everything.
Oh, definitely.
Like everyone has to work together.
That's so interesting to hear you say that, because I think you might be the first parent who I've ever heard say, I see the positive in my child using social media. And that's a good thing.
And I have to address the negative.
Yeah.
If I go on and I look at the search results and I see something that I'm not okay with, I have to sit down with my husband as a family unit and have that candid conversation with her face to face. And, and that's just, we're a family unit, and she's not there's probably some things she'll get away with, but there's a lot that she knows we're monitoring and helping her understand, because maybe she doesn't understand.
Yeah. And I feel like you hit the nail on the head. It has to be a team effort, and you have all these people who are keeping track of what your children are doing on social media, and they're letting you know, hey, they posted this, maybe they shouldn't have. But not everyone has that.
No.
Not every child has those people protecting them, looking out for them. And I think that's the problem. And, kids, their brains aren't fully developed. And you're talking about it. You see, oh, my friends went to this party. They told me that they weren't doing anything on Saturday night. But then I see on Snapchat that they were all at this party. And now I feel like I was left out, and it just crushes kids. Again, when we were kids, we didn't have that. We didn't know what our friends were doing on the weekend. As adults,
you don't get invited to every social outing. And you know what I mean? You have to share those experiences and communicate about it and overcome it, because there's stuff that, you'll be a part of that other people won't necessarily relate to or be a part of. And that's life. And I think bringing things down and making it very relatable for children and not putting them in a corner of like, you're just a child, you can't learn this. I mean, that's a lot about what my family did when we put our mantra out into the world. It was like, this is our mantra, but they've always watched us hustle as entrepreneurs and work 7-day weeks and 12-hour days and have nannies and babysitters and aunts and uncles and grandparents that helped us. And every day when we came home, we were so happy to see them and share what hard work was going to do for us. And here we are a decade later. My oldest daughter's 11 years old. And I mean, this is ingrained in us. They don't leave my sight unless I say work hard and they say smile large. Whether I'm fighting and throwing their shoes out the door for them to get their shoes on and get up to the bus or whatever. I mean, it's how we start our day and it's how we end our day, because it's hard work, finding your community. It's hard work finding your place in this world. It's hard work learning and growing up as an individual and finding who you are, and what you want to do. But you have to smile along the way.
Oh, totally.
You're not going to get anywhere making hard work, torture for yourself. You got to, embrace the positive every day, or surround yourself with positive people.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is giving them that platform or that community to surround themselves with positive people too.
I think that's great parenting.
And that's what you're doing with the UGLI Foundation and your pledge. and your clubs. So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit too, and how you're trying to put the Ugly Foundation within communities and schools, because I think I want to know more about it, and I know my daughters would definitely like to be a part of it and bring the Ugly Foundation into their schools.
Yeah, we're super excited about everything we're working on. I have to say, in our family, we have a similar thing. We say, do your best and never quit. And it's the same thing. I say that to our kids. I say, what's our motto? And they say back, do my best and never quit. And just to hear, their little voices say that, and just for them to know that as long as they're trying their hardest and they're doing their best, they should be proud of themselves. And it's wonderful, I think, to be proud as a parent, but we're always instilling in our kids, you need to be proud of yourself. And so whenever I say to my daughter, to my son, hey, I'm proud of you, I always say, then I follow it up with, are you proud of yourself? Because if you're not proud of yourself and you're not smiling like you're talking about and you're not loving it, then what's the point, right? So I love that. Our families are similar. We've got that motto as well. And that was something that my dad and mom instilled in me as a kid. And they always said, if you're not out there working hard and trying to make the world a better place and make yourself better, somebody else is, and they're going to be better than you, and obviously that stem from sports and academics, and then also just doing good. And then that all goes into the Ugly Foundation and why I wanted to start it. My 2 children are my why of why I wanted to start the foundation. It was something that I was passionate about before having kids, bullying, because I really have always felt like it's really a problem in our society now, especially with social media and just the way that the world is going. People are just
the
getting
competitive nature
angrier
of everything.
and angrier.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. And then having 2 kids, just wanting to change the world for them, change the path that we're traveling down, and make the world, as cheesy as it sounds, a better place for them. And, if it takes all of us. It takes all of us to do our part to make it better. We have some great programs that the Ugly Foundation does. And one of them is our student ambassadors, where we actually have kids in schools who are our student ambassadors.
Which I love.
Thank you. They have to listen to an Ugly Chat, which I give. I travel around and I speak at schools, speak at organizations, even speak at businesses with adults. Usually have a co-speaker. Typically, that's one of my dear friends and an Ugly Foundation board member, Quan Cosby. He was an All-American wide receiver at the University of Texas and just a cool guy. And the kids always love listening to him.
And I like
talk.
the co-ed nature of that too, because it speaks to all the children, and all the students.
We have different backgrounds. I'm a woman, he's a man, he's Black, I'm white. We came from different. So it's really great, I think, for the kids to see us up there together as good friends. Yep. We love each other. We've spent countless hours speaking to each other about our differences and wanting to understand those differences, and we respect those differences, and we don't agree on everything, but that's okay. We still respect one another, and you're right, it's really, I think, cool for the kids to see that those differences between us. So they listen to a chat, and then they go online, they take a little quiz to make sure they were paying attention. They sign our pledge. We have a pledge that anyone in the world can go on our website, theuglyfoundation.org, and sign.
And we'll have the link in the description here.
An
if you want to go explore.
Please do an anti-bullying pledge. And we've had, hundreds and hundreds of people sign that pledge. So we're super excited about that. And then they become an Ugly Student Ambassador. We send them some Ugly swag. They can wear it in their schools. And then the kids in their schools, their classmates, their friends, their peers, know that they are a safe person. If that person is being bullied, they can go to the Ugly Student Ambassador, and that person can help them find a trusted adult to intervene in the situation. So we love that program. Like I said, we have our Ugly Chats where we go around and we speak to students and adults in a lot of different places. And then
And then are you doing this nationwide?
Right now, we're just in Texas.
You're just in Texas,
yeah,
okay.
But yes, obviously the goal is one day to be everywhere. Unfortunately, I can only be in one place. I know how how that goes.
I mean, I try to be in 2 places at one time, and
it doesn't
happens,
work
but
well, right?
Yeah,
No, we get requests to go do Ugly Chats in a lot of different states, which is wonderful. So we're working up to being able to, fulfill that. And I'm really excited about the growth of the foundation. And we're in the fall launching a new program called UGLI Clubs. And we have the support of an official partner of ours, which is the David's Legacy Foundation. That was started by the parents of a boy named David Molak. David took his own life a few years back from being bullied. He was relentlessly bullied. and he ended up committing suicide. So his parents, out of something very tragic, created this foundation, which is something very beautiful. And they've worked hand in hand with the Texas state legislature to pass a bill which was called David's Law, and that makes the cyberbullying of a minor in the state of Texas illegal. It's a Class A misdemeanor. Recently, they've been working on David's Law 2.0, and there's many different pieces that go into that. But one of them is that public schools in the state of Texas are going to be required to have an organization in their school that addresses bullying.
Perfect.
And the David's Legacy Foundation is directly supporting the U.G.L.I Foundation. We're partners.
Partnering.
And our U.G.L.I Clubs that we are launching in the fall,
Yep.
we have pilot schools that are going to help
Okay.
us launch the program. And that will be that organization. Like, these schools have to
So your
have
ambassadors will be part of the club.
Anybody
at
can
the
be part of the
school.
club.
Beautiful.
Yes. Obviously, there's a teacher that runs the club. They are the administrator of the club, and we give each school a $2,000 grant to run the club, and we basically give them all the materials. We give them the roadmap.
So you have like a
what they need.
curriculum. Like, do they meet a certain amount of times? Do they define what that's going to be?
Yeah, so
is
they
it a
have-
lunchtime thing?
They have
Just-
the freedom to
what's the
decide.
vision?
Yeah, it's definitely it's during the day
Okay.
club, an extracurricular club. They have the freedom to decide when that'll be, and we give them the materials, but then they can use as many as they want, or they can do their own thing. But the whole idea is that it's an inclusive club. It's a place where people can feel safe to talk about everything.
And they're aware of
meet-
resources.
Yes, you meet new friends. We have sample activities and events to do for every month, which are really cool. Again, that include everybody. And yeah, we're here to support the teachers who are running the club, because that's, you're asking even more of teachers who already have a really tough job and a really busy schedule.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and you're just giving them the resources to be able to facilitate that for their students, because they know the students the best on campus. I mean,
yes.
that's their
Mhm.
community. And some teachers, are more involved in the students' lives than not. And some subjects lend to them being more understanding of their personalities and things like that. But I think that's amazing, because there is so much socializing and so much growth that takes place on campus, like at the breaks and the recess and
Mhm.
things like lunch breaks and stuff. So I think that's amazing.
Thanks. We're so ecstatic about that. We think that's going to grow really quickly. The schools that have already signed on to be pilot schools are really, really excited about it. And yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I don't want to
we'll see
say
where
what
it
school
goes.
my daughter's at, but so hopefully it's one of them. Or if not, we can work
we
on
need to
that,
work on
because
it.
I know my Work Hard, Smile Large
Mhm.
ambassador daughter would love to
Yeah.
get her friends involved with it, because they've
We
been,
would love that.
after she overcame some stuff last year when we first moved to Texas, she had different peer groups. So there's different cliques of kids throughout school, and they've got their
Mhm.
different, whatever, labels for each other, right? Being the new student and coming from a really small school in California, public school, they always helped all the special needs children and worked with the teachers, and everybody was friends with everybody. And so when she came to her newest classroom when we moved to Texas, the friend groups didn't understand her wanting to be friends with different groups.
Mm.
And so she was trying to meet more people at the school, being a new person, and it ended up backfiring on her.
Wow.
And she was being basically being isolated. And it was just really interesting to see her overcome it, because I wanted, fast forward to a year later, they're all friends with each other. They sit at different lunch tables together now, and everything that she went through and that our family went through to, hold her head high and make sure school was a safe place and that she was in a healthy, happy learning environment, brought her and her friends to a year later, where they're all like cross mingling,
Oh, I love that.
and they're advocating for each other to be friends with one another and stuff like that.
It sounds like your daughter basically is the reason why, all of these kids are friends with each other and advocating for each other, like you said.
And they're using her personal experience and how she shared her emotions and how she didn't want to change who she was to help one another now, which is the most amazing
how
part.
proud are you of that?
I'm just so I feel so fortunate that she overcame like the really hard spot that she was in, because my husband and you're helpless at that point and you feel so responsible for it. But at the same point, like, these are life skills that she had to hone in on, because she's always had it inside of her. And every child has it inside of themselves to want to help other people and to love on others, or to need that and be able to ask for somebody's help, or, sit with them at lunch and not be alone or something like that. So I'm super proud of her. And I think it's just the beginning, because I think I think she loves getting to know people, and I think she's taught her friends to really open their minds to getting to know one another. And so it's just the beginning to me.
Oh, I love that
she's
so much.
yeah, she's made an impact on her friends, and she has all different kinds of friend groups, and she's teaching her younger sister. And it's just a trickle down effect, you know, our friends in our community that she's around. She's an older mentor to them. And that's why Work Hard, Smile Large. I'm just trying to bring as many different age groups and people from different schools. Everybody in our community goes to a different school, and they can learn so much from each other. So our events that we do for Work Hard, Smile Large really just try to bring them together, because there's nothing. They're going to soccer one place, they're going to music another place. You know, that everybody kind of goes different directions, but coming together for one purpose and really being proud of yourself and your hard work and smiling large, and having us adults, when we get together, having them be able to shadow us and hear what we're doing different and similar, and supporting each other in our businesses and life and parenting. I mean, let's go there. I mean, it trickles down to every part of our lives. So it's been really fun.
It's all about being inclusive, right? I mean, our two organizations have the exact same goal, and that's that everyone feels included, and that, you know, they're special and they're unique and gifted and loved and individual. And I love that, because everything that you're doing is trying to make people feel that inclusivity, and that's what your daughter is passing on, and that's what we're trying to pass on to our kids. And again, I just think if more people would kind of have that belief, then the world would be a better place. But then, like you said, you're not going to get invited to every party. You're not going to get invited to every ladies' lunch. You're not going to, you know, it's just part of life, and that's okay.
And it's bridging that gap of like, okay, so, you know, fortunately I went all the way through, you know, my high school, and then I went into my undergraduate, my graduate degree and things like that. And I didn't learn how to collaborate and network with people until I was like older, you know, like we did work in group stuff and things like that in high school. But now that you have the social media component and email and the instant communication with people, and teaching the youth how to network with one another and collaborate with one another, and not just find people that are like them or like the same things as them, and to learn from one another outside of a school book, or, you know, there's not even real school books anymore. It's computers. I'm sorry.
I'm not to that
but
point
like,
yet.
And I'm looking at it like, we have meetings and we have masterminds, and I overcame and grew through my relocation to another state, and expanding my business through getting to know people I didn't know, and putting myself out there. And how powerful is it to teach them at age 7 or age 10 to be able to do that and not think twice about it, because it doesn't hurt. You know, what's the worst? You learn something about somebody and you cross paths later on and you say hi to some familiar face, or you get to know each other and you're great friends. Like my first guest on Work Hard, Smile Large, like I just reached out to her because she was on my Instagram feed. I'm like, hey, from one entrepreneur to another, I'm new here. Let's meet for coffee.
I love that.
You know? And so I want that mindset and that guard to be let down for kids, so they can collaborate with one another.
But
in many ways.
How do you think that we teach kids that? Because it's so hard today. I mean, every kid is, like you said, there's not even textbooks anymore. And I'm not to that point yet. My kids are too little, but you know, everybody's glued to a screen, and you know, we're losing that social interaction.
Oh, just wait till I get to my education episodes. I've got some fun guests ahead. Yeah. I'm a big proponent of teaching kids how to advocate for themselves. And that's, you know, some kids are more shy. Some kids, you know, everyone is different. Even like adults are different in advocating for themselves. Totally. But I've learned through our transition and our relocation and the multiple school education environments we've had over the last few years. I'm just going to I don't want to say the big word, but you know, the world's changed. I have my kids advocate for themselves. Like my children had vision issues. Like they can't be on their device as much. If their teacher doesn't give them the paper copy of it, they have to advocate to ask for their paper copy, and they have to know what their needs are and what sets them up for success. And they have to be able to ask for that. Or I've really taught them advocacy. Yeah. In the most positive way advocacy can be used, right? Right. It's, you know, to better an environment or better an experience, or to share what your needs are, you know, in a very honest way.
Yeah. And it's a direct transition to bullying, because like you're talking about teaching your kids to believe in themselves and persevere and advocate for themselves. And that's the same way that, you know, that we're teaching our children, the same thing we're teaching them. And that's what I was taught. I mean, I'm a very strong individual and I can do all those things for myself, but not everyone is like that.
But were you always that strong? Like I was super shy.
No, because my dad might be the most in a fantastic way, might be the most confident person on this planet. Like whatever he does, he thinks he's going to be great at it.
Mindset.
And that is his mindset. I've never met anyone else like him. In high school, he was state champion and, everything. He was an All-American quarterback at the University of Texas. He played professional football. Then he decided that he was going to randomly switch gears and become an attorney. And then he was a crazy successful attorney. And then he ran for political office. And then he's been a rancher and he's written and published 4 books.
Like, and he never stops working.
He's an artist.
It's all hard work and all of it too, I bet.
Anything he puts his mind to, he believes that he can do it and he can do it well, right? And that also is all the good that he does. He has the biggest heart. And my mom is the same. My mom is the smartest person I know. So, and I don't say that like jokingly. She's the smartest person I know, both attorneys. And, she watches Jeopardy. She knows every single answer on Jeopardy. So I always had that instilled in me. She's so smart. I always had that instilled in me, but not everyone has that. Not everyone has parents like that. So in the bullying world, you are taught to advocate for others, but we call it being an upstander. So it's super important that kids know that if you see someone else getting bullied and they aren't that confident kid and they're not going to advocate for themselves, you need to be an upstander, not a bystander. You need to stand up for that person. You need to take their hand, even if that means metaphorically or physically, and say, I am here for you. Let's go find an adult, any trusted adult. It can be a teacher, a coach, an administrator, a parent, a neighbor. Let's find an adult. Let's go have them intervene in the situation. We'll talk to the school. Then the school's going to talk to the parents. People have to stand up for one another, because if not, these kids just get lost. And then it's another tragic story that I cannot see these tragic stories anymore of, the 13-year-old baseball phenom that just took his life. And I mean, there's so many kids out there who are taking their lives, and it's just awful.
Yep.
And it's all because we're not being kind to one another, and they're isolated. Yeah. Yes.
And that's one of the things my closest friend said to me over a year ago when I said, we're putting Work Hard, Smile Large out into the world. She's like, well, how are you going to reach everyone? You've built this life, you and your husband work, and your kids are, you're at a certain place in society that you've worked really hard to get to, but how are you going to help the kids that are less fortunate? And I hate to use that word, or the kids that aren't in your community that want to be a part of Work Hard, Smile Large. And I was like, it stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, they're in our schools. They're in our communities all the time. Our kids go to school with all people from all different neighborhoods and communities and backgrounds. And I said, it's going to start where it starts. And where it goes, it's going to be with the help of everybody in the Work Hard, Smile Large community and, our supporters. And I'm not going to let that hold me back, because there's differences in every classroom. There's differences in every social setting, and every restaurant we go to, and every Uber car we get into, you know what I mean? And we learn something about the driver. So I feel like the message can be spread in so many different ways, but upstanding and helping others is definitely something I'm going to start talking to, not just my kids, but the kids I carpool with, and, their friends that they, have struggles with. So,
yeah. And one of the biggest questions that we get when we're out at schools is, well, what about the repercussions of being an upstander? Because, there's the whole, adage of don't be a tattletale, don't be a snitch, all that. Well,
mind your own business.
Yes. There's also, people need to remember that there's a difference between teasing somebody and bullying somebody. And if you cross that line into bullying, well, then you probably deserve to be told on, and you deserve the actions that are coming against you and the punishment. And if, again, a lot of people are always asking me, well, how can you tell? Like, when does teasing become bullying? Well, if it's a group of your friends and you guys are having fun, because you can't tell kids not to tease each other. I mean, as adults, we tease each other.
I said it earlier, you can't take everything so seriously.
Yeah. It's about, you got to have fun and smile large and have a good time in life. But if somebody starts to say no, or if they start to say, that's bothering me, that's hurting my feelings, please don't say that. That moment is when you stop. Yep. If somebody asks you,
or if you think about it after you walk away from the situation, which has happened recently within my daughter's peer group, it weighed on them. And they made a pact that day in the car that I was dropping them off at school that they were going to go up and talk to her and apologize because they didn't handle it right.
Well,
so, you know what I mean? That conscience of knowing, like, the takeaway from a situation wasn't right and it needs to be corrected, and going back to it is okay too.
Good for them.
Some ownership in it. And I just think the more they talk about that and the more experiences they have that they're coming together and working through it together, the more it's going to be able to replicate itself in other situations too.
There's a lot of adults that could learn from that.
I know. I know. I learned so much from them. And that's why them being a part of our events and us coming together and doing it, because they give so much more perspective to what I felt the purpose was, and what their takeaway was from it. So
Totally.
it's just good. We're all learning from each other at all times.
Yes, definitely. With the Ugly Clubs that we're starting, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to survey the kids, and we're obviously going to survey the teachers as well. But we want to know from the kids, from the people who are actually experiencing it, who are in school and in the clubs and facing bullying. We want to hear, what their feedback is and how we can be
It's a
better.
true voice into it.
Absolutely. And I mean, just on this topic, I plead to all the parents who are watching this, listening to this, to teach your kids just to be good people. Because I mean, I just literally received a text message yesterday of from a friend saying that her son was at the park after school. He got ganged up on by 3 boys, threw rocks at him, hurt him physically, hurt him emotionally, broke his brand new bike. And that should never happen.
And this is not the first time I've heard of this this year.
If we're teaching our kids to be good people, and I know we all think my kid's never going to be the bully. Like my kid, that's not, no, but that could happen. It could be your kid. And as hard as that is, you can always fix that, and you can always make them better and do the right thing and make sure that they apologize and make sure that they begin to turn it around and be better. And it's on you as the parent to make sure that you are teaching your kid those morals.
Absolutely. And if it's in my situation, and I kind of want to bring it full circle back to the education and stuff like that, sometimes it's going to happen at schools. Sometimes it's going to happen in public at your park, and there aren't going to be adults around or anything like that. But how it's handled by administration or how it's handled by parents is, not consistent. And so really knowing and advocating for how it should be addressed and what the outcome needs to be instead of battling it or avoiding it. Because I feel like parents advocating with the administration, their responsibility and stuff, and being able to help students and do the right thing with students and not be so neutralized on, repercussions or approach, is really important too. So I feel like between our community, it's the students, it's the parents, and a lot of it is the school community and the administration. And I always say when I talk to my children's friends or when we've had difficulties with people, it's a team.
Yes.
And that team stems. It's not a battle. It's not a competition. Like the kids need to know everybody's, working together for the same outcome too. So it's amazing that you're in schools.
Thank you.
And that you're making that effort and that you have that partnership to do it, because the administration needs that support. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the schools are a huge part of it. And these laws that I was telling you about, they are, holding schools more accountable, and they're holding the parents of the kids that bully more accountable, which is really important. One thing that we've kind of coined at the UGLI Foundation is the 3 A's, and that's acknowledgement, acceptance, and action. So if we all can acknowledge that bullying exists, because I still believe that there are people out there who just are like, whatever, it's just bullying, kids being kid, whatever. So no, it exists, and it's gotten worse than ever. Number 2 is accepting that. Let's accept it. Like, let's get our heads around it. That's okay. Like, accept that maybe you're being bullied. Like, that's terrible. That's not a fun thing, but you can't control the bully. You can only control yourself. And then action, which is let's do something about it. And that's what we're trying to do. And one of the things that we have on our website that I encourage every parent to go on with their child and take a look at is we have action steps on there that were developed with professional therapists. And whether you're being bullied in person or online, we have 2 different action steps, 2 different guides. You can go through these, and it is all about helping you like internalize and process and have the tools to handle being bullied. So like one example is if you're being bullied in a situation, start like taking breaths and focusing on things around you that you enjoy. Like maybe there's music playing that you like, or there's a smell that you like. And again, I encourage you to go on the website, theuglyfoundation.org, and check out those action steps. And I've had countless parents tell me that they've gone on there with their child who's being bullied. They've gone through the action steps. The kids have implemented them at school or online, and it has helped. And so we're super proud of those. And we have lots of other
beautiful, and we'll have some of it here in the episode. We kind of did some video scroll throughs of the website, and I know you're continually adding to it, as are we on ours, because there's so much more that can be done. and
Totally.
resources that people could just find quickly.
Yes,
you know,
we
and
can
it's
always
such
do
a
better.
easy website to navigate and learn from, and the resources that you put on there as well, outside of the UGLI Foundation, for them to go one step farther for any actual resources they need to take action quickly, is super powerful too. So definitely make sure you go to their website, the UGLI Foundation, and learn more and take the pledge and spread the word, because it's really special. So I know you have your foundation, you have your family, you have your, you know, your husband's a professional athlete, so you're in a lot of different communities and around the world and stuff like that. But my big question and takeaway is, because it's something that, you know, we have to know what we're working towards, is what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, and I think that is such an important thing. Honestly, for me, I just want my legacy to be that I raised, you know, I have 2 children, that I raised 2 good human beings that are kind and strong and hard workers, and, you know, treat everyone with respect. And I just want them to be proud of me, and I want my husband to be proud of me, and I want my parents to be proud of me. And you know, if I leave this world a better place, then I will be happy. You know, I don't need any sort of global recognition or anything like that. I mean, I just think that, you know, if you make the people who are truly important in your life proud, then you've done enough.
You've impacted the future.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And, you know, if my kids can spread that love and kindness and, you know, just make other people's days better, I think that would make me so proud. I mean, it's so interesting, Nicole. I go a lot of places. I travel a lot with my husband, and I can't tell you how many times I've been told, "You're so nice." Like, the people that we come across aren't like you, like always, you know, some people are, but, you know, some people aren't. And you're just so kind, and you take the time to stop and talk to me and introduce yourself. And I just am always like, I'm very grateful for that. Yeah. But I'm also always in shock a little bit, because like, why is everyone else not being
so speaking to my heartstrings?
Kind?
So like, we know a lot of people. My husband and I have a huge sphere of influence from my upbringing, from education, from our careers. And that is why the podcast needed to start, because it was like, there's a way for us to connect people that we know that are also kind people that are part of our life that we don't get to see all the time, to share like what the world is going to do with us, not for us. Like, you are in the world smiling with people and hearing what an impact that makes. And you can keep doing it, and you will keep doing it. But what if, you know, you're teaching your children how to do it? What if you can teach more of the kids at the UGLI Foundation to do that? And it's so true. Like, I feel very relatable to that, because it's the same thing for my husband and I. And whether we hang out with those people all the time, or see them every single year, or cross paths with them every few years, it's so powerful, because you just go, wow, what if everybody just, you know, had the ability to just try and make others smile, and, or just think about it.
It just seems so simple, right? Like,
it does.
There's no catch, you know.
It's not simple. We've had our struggles and our challenges. You've had challenges in your life, you know, and hard times. And so
for me, when I say, I agree with that. And when I say simple, I feel like no matter, you know, what kind of day you're having or what you're going through, everyone has their problems, right? And probably 9 times out of 10, somebody else is having a much worse day than you, you know? And it's so much easier to just be kind. And, you know, that's why I think it's just simple. Like, it's not that hard to be nice to each other. It is hard to go online. It's sad
when it's noticeable that somebody smiles at you in public. Yeah. And I do notice that a lot when I'm traveling, and I do notice that a lot. I have noticed it dramatically in the last few years, where you just go, wow, no one was smiling in there. Why?
Man, when I'm driving,
or you say, have a great day, and they're like, ugh.
When I'm driving around town, I'm waving at everybody, and you can see people are like, did that person just wave at me? And I mean, I don't know.
When we moved to Texas, we're like, is everybody doing the boat wave? Like, while we're walking? And that's just the thing. Like, you just wave. If somebody doesn't wave in Texas when you're walking by, or like on a jog, it's like, whoa, where
it's definitely more rare to not get a wave back in Texas than to get a wave. We love our wave. That's me. Like, I'll be in other states.
York and
States waving
California,
at
I'm like
everybody.
waving at people all the time. I'm like, whoa, is that I don't know. Nope, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep waving at everybody.
I love that. Maybe we can get the wave going in California.
We should get the wave going everywhere. I call it the boat wave, but
I
now it's
love
gonna be
that.
the Texas wave.
The Texas wave.
The Texas wave, or like the peace sign off the steering wheel.
Yes, I do give the old like the little
The little
this
finger thing off the
sometimes.
steering wheel because
Yes.
you can't not do it.
Yeah, I will proudly own that the Texas wave. I love that. I
Okay,
think what
so the takeaway is work hard, smile large, and then your life motto is
do your best.
do
never
your
quit.
best, and then it's wave, whether it's with your hand or off the steering wheel.
Yeah.
You got to start waving every day.
Just a little that might make some. You never know. That might totally change.
Guess
my day.
what? It's not
There's
going
a
to
lot.
do. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Right. And it
And
takes
that's the
a
best.
lot less effort to be kind than it does to like go on your computer and write some horrible message to somebody that you don't know on social media or, like that just, what a waste of time. I just always wonder, like all these people who are trolling on the internet, like don't they have something better to do with their time? Couldn't they be doing something positive and
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Like some things just happen.
Yes.
And it wasn't great, but you had the opportunity to have another great.
Also, I think people forget that people are allowed to make mistakes.
Yep.
Like in today's world, where when you've got someone who's well known. I mean, like you said, my husband, for example, he's a well known athlete. Like these people are under scrutiny and under microscopes. If you're a politician, if you're an actor, a singer, an athlete, whatever, whoever you might be, or maybe you're a doctor creating life-saving medicines or things. And if you say one wrong thing, you risk, like we talked about earlier, completely being canceled, which I can't stand that whole word and the cancel culture. But like people are allowed to make mistakes, right? And obviously there's one thing if they're doing something maliciously, but you know the difference.
Yep.
And all these people who are so quick to judge and hate, it seems like they believe they've never made a mistake. And I know that's not true.
And we all learn from our mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, I clearly say on my website, like we all learn and grow from our challenges. Let's promise to embrace them. Let's promise to be kind to ourselves. Like, let's promise to like work harder at it. Try it again. You know,
I like to say, give yourself some grace because, you're allowed to make mistakes. And like you said,
you learn from them.
You learn from them. It makes you better, makes you stronger.
Yep, it does. It totally does. So I love that that's your legacy. And I haven't defined mine, but it definitely is the human word, and calling my children human and looking at them like they are our future is a mindset and a perspective that guides me on every single goal that I set for Work Hard, Smile Large and for our family. I can't fail having them pass on any portion of what I've learned or experienced. And they need to start experiencing it now. Like our youth need to start experiencing who they are going to be and who they want to be and what impact and what choices they can make in their mindset today. They're going to set them up and have them, I could say, light years ahead, of where we maybe were, because we weren't talking about those things. They didn't have that exposure as young as they do. Right. So I'm looking at the technology. If I take another small piece away from it and just say they're light years ahead and they might be able to do more in this world sooner.
Yeah, I like that. I think, looking at it positively and making sure that, you have a good grasp on it, your kids have a good grasp on it. Yeah, everything done responsibly. I think that's super smart. I mean, I have to say that I can't stand social media for young people. Like I believe that if you can't like vote, or maybe even you can't legally buy a drink. So if you're not 18 yet, you can't vote. You're not 21 yet, you can't drink. Why should you be allowed to be on social media where it's just a big, Shark Tank and they're going after everybody?
Algorithms to just target you,
your mind
positive
isn't
and negative.
fully developed, and you have all these predators. I mean, that's kind of the point that I've gotten to, and I've completely deleted social media off of my devices, and I have a wonderful person who helps me do all my social media for the foundation and personally, and she does my husband's social media, and it's been
just so you keep your mind clear.
Yeah,
how many days have you just? I have. You're not on it anymore, but I mean, there's just days and weeks that go by where I'm like, I just don't even want to engage.
And good for you. No, and it's been, I don't know how long it's been. I'd say it's been maybe a year since I deleted it off, and of course, people send me things on Instagram, and you can click on it and it'll let you watch so long before it prompts you. You need to download the app if you want to keep watching it. And I see those things, and I collaborate with my social media person of everything that goes up. So it's, coming from my true voice. But man, it's been
that's how the platform should be used, though. Yeah. It's, the platform shouldn't be used as a tool for communication. It's a storyline. It's a way for me to share my story with my family and friends around the world.
Totally.
You know, and so it's a connection tool, but it's
And
not,
yeah, and what
it doesn't
you and
replace relationships. It
Right.
shouldn't replace relationships.
Totally. And what you and I are putting out, you know, with the organizations is positivity and the things that we were taught and that you know we learned when we were raised that made us better.
Yeah.
We're trying to pass that
And I'm
on
not competing
to
with you.
others.
I think if people if we need to work together,
Absolutely.
and especially being here in Texas locally, and that's where Work Hard Small Large truly went out into the world, even though it was really founded in California when I was working countless hours and trying to have my children understand what hard work was for and what I was working towards and things like that. But
no, you're right. Just we're collaborating.
these platforms can be used to
Yeah.
connect people too. And so I'm going to pull that positive right back because I think there is good that can be done with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest way to reach millions of people.
Yeah.
That's another, you know, upside to it.
Yeah.
Is how else can you reach millions of people with, you know, your positive ideas and words, and it can totally be used for good if we just use it for good.
How are you? This is a kind of a question that just popped into my head. How are you spreading the message of the UGLI Foundation outside of Texas? Because you do travel quite a bit, and are you wearing your swag in those places? Is it coming up in conversations? Like how is that? Because I know you have the ability to give it wings, is what I call it.
Yeah, I love that. No, great question. I wear the hat. I wear the t-shirt. My hubby rocks the hats, the t-shirts. He even has played in a few tournaments wearing the hat. And I get a lot of people who ask me about it. And actually a lot of people who come up and they say, I love your foundation. I love what you're doing, even if I'm not wearing, you know, the hat or something. And a lot of people who have heard about it, which of course makes me feel great. I mean, my ultimate goal is for one day anywhere in the world, someone might see that logo, the UGLI logo, which I'm very proud of, and will see it and think of, ooh, that means kindness and positivity. And I'm going to go find somebody and, you know, give them a high five, a random stranger, and tell them, hey, have a great day. And, you know, just passing, like I said, our actual mission is to stop bullying forever. That's our mission. And kind of our motto internally at the UGLI Foundation is responding to hate with messages of kindness and love. So it's much better to, if someone is being hateful, to respond with kindness and love than to respond with hate, because then you're just that chain of hate never stops.
We left her choir performance, and I was like, that girl's voice was so beautiful, and she's like, you should hear how she talks to everybody, Mom. She calls us this. I mean, racist kind of little derogatory things, and I was like, I would have never thought that from her voice. She's like, I know. She's really not nice. I'm like, how do you respond to it? She's like, I don't. She's like, I don't even want to be around her. Like, she doesn't talk nice to people. And I'm like, oh gosh, like, how do we break through to that? Yeah. I mean, literally just happened within the last 12 hours. Wow. And so I was like trying to give her tools. I'm like, what could you say? She's like, I don't know, Mom. I'm like, well, let's think about it. Because if she does say something to you again, we need to like find a way to have her know, like maybe she's really hurt inside.
Yeah.
And maybe people aren't saying nice stuff to her.
What we find is when someone is being ugly in the not good way, they are hurting. When someone is being unkind, they are hurting. So actually one thing that we encourage people to say, and you can use it in person or a hashtag, whatever. If someone is unkind to you, we say, thank you for being ugly. So it's obviously a play on words and, you know, a double meaning, like, thank you for being unkind. Like, I'm going to take that and it's just going to bounce off of me and I'm going to be okay with it. And I'm going to walk away and I'm going to continue to have a great day. If someone is unkind to you online, you can respond back, you know what? Thank you for being ugly, UGLI. I mean, what are they going to say to that?
Exactly.
There's nothing you could possibly say back, because
you can trust that all of the middle schoolers in our community will be using that as a response.
I've always loved that, and I think that, like I said, what can someone possibly say back to that? You just thanked me for being unkind to you.
But I do little things like we just started, and it's opposite of that. But like, people don't get recognized for their kindness either. It goes both ways. And so we started. I have these "You Are Awesome" cards. So we always carry business cards around, and you think they're kind of like archaic now, but I keep them in a little business card case in my purse. And whether somebody was an amazing server, did something extra, was nice, or wasn't smiling, was smiling by the end of my experience of being around them or something, I give them a "You Are Awesome" card and just welcome them into the community without them ever knowing about it. And it brings tears to people's eyes a lot of the times. Or if I leave a place and I go, God, that person was really nice, or wow, that turned around. I'll get out of my car or wherever I'm at and go back in and give them a "You Are Awesome" card with the Work Hard, Smile Large, information on it, so they can join the community. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
That's really neat.
yeah. And so my kids have them in their backpacks, and we carry them around everywhere. But thank you for being ugly will be a new hashtag and a new communication tool that we'll use with the kids.
Nothing would make me prouder.
Okay, good. It's on. Not even a challenge. That's so easy. Is there anything else that we want to share about the Ugly Foundation or what you're going to do for the rest of this year?
I think, we've covered so much. One really important thing that you said is we all have to work together. And the Ugly Foundation is just one organization that's addressing bullying, but we're here to help any other organization that has the same mission, has the same goal. And it's not a competition out there between organizations, and we all have to work together to help, our young people and our adults, and to help anyone who's going through a tough situation. I'll also just mention, because I'm super proud of it, Sergio and I have the Sergio and Angela Garcia Foundation, and we help kids with that as well. We support some amazing organizations with children's hospitals, both here and in Europe. And we do a lot of different junior golf tournaments, and we bring kids who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to play golf.
Let's play off on that, because I'm a big advocate, big supporter of the Bradley Rofer Foundation in Southern California. And my parents live in a golf community in California. And Josette and Aaron Rofer lost their son late last year, and they're going to be doing a lot of stuff with the Aaron Rofer Foundation, and they do a lot of stuff for terminally ill children and ill children and things like that. And so I would think we could definitely connect the Ugly Foundation and insert your foundation with Sergio.
Yep. Yeah, you talked about some legacy. Yeah, it just goes hand in hand with, just wanting to, with both foundations, just wanting to leave this world a better place and helping as many people as we can, because Sergio and I have worked really hard, and we've been really blessed and worked for everything we have. But man, what is it all for if you don't give something back?
Yeah, exactly. Or share your experience, the need is there. Let's connect the need in different locations, like we connect the pins on a map of where we traveled. Let's help a couple foundations connect that may not have met each other.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And if you guys have, if anybody that's watching or listening has a foundation or a mission or a mantra or something that you guys would like to collaborate with us, connect with us on, please don't be afraid to. How can they reach you?
Yes, I told you about our website, theuglyfoundation.org. You can reach us at info@theuglyfoundation.org. That's our email address. And you can also just message us through the website. Perfect. And obviously, of course, all the different social media channels. And we look forward to hearing from anyone and everyone, all the feedback, and join us, take our pledge, and support our mission.
And we'll have all the links in the description for you to easily access as well, for taking the pledge, for connecting with Angela, getting to the website for the Ugly Foundation. And I'm super just touched by our episode today, and it really brings me back to what really brought Work Hard, Smile Large to life in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait for my kids to listen. So everybody, don't be afraid to let your kids listen, because I think the message is clear. It happens in all different kinds of families, and we can overcome it together as a community. So thank you for joining me again today for another episode of the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast. I am Nicole Christopherson, the founder, and I'd hope to have you back again after the Ugly Clubs, are released and launched into the schools, and hear how it's going as well. So please come back again and join me.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you're doing, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Remember to work hard,
smile large.
Welcome to the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast, where we explore the outcome of hard work and the power of positivity in our daily lives. In each episode, we'll delve into the benefits of positive mindsets, hear inspiring stories, and provide tips for cultivating smiles all around us, highlighting healthy habits and living a full life while giving focus to various lifestyles that shine bright in this world. Help spread Work Hard, Smile Large in your community by coming together, pouring into others, and inspiring the youth to become WHSL ambassadors too. Sit back, relax, and get ready to embrace the Work Hard, Smile Large vibe.